Hi, Jacqueline here, a relationship and intimacy coach. And so, if you enjoy hearing nuggets, learning more about how to build deeper intimacy in your relationships, stronger relationships where you feel confidence, your self esteem is really high, but you're also feeling a deeper and deeper connection over time with your partner, with your loved ones, and there's a growth in that over time. So if you're interested in topics like that, make sure to subscribe so that you get notified when I share inspiration and stories, which is part of what I'd like to share today. So today's video specifically, I'm talking to you if you know that you feel fear around something and your relationship to that fear is that you feel afraid or angry, and maybe a bit of both, that you feel afraid, if that makes sense. And I want to share a personal experience around this. And if you do resonate with being someone that, there's like things that you feel afraid of, and they feel like what I've often called in the past my Achilles heel, right? Like parts of me that I saw as a definite weakness, that my only way to a better life was either to like fully get rid of these parts of myself, or to just be like, oh, how do I manage and avoid these things completely so that I don't feel this, or I feel this as little as possible. It's like the part of you that kind of can resort to a managing of life more than actually like living your life to the fullest and being willing to see fears as something that is safe to lean into. So, what I want to share today is this past weekend, I went to Las Vegas, and I was initially so excited. I was like, oh, this is going to be fun. I'm just going to relax. I'm going to dress sexy. I'm going to wear high heels. And I was just really excited to have fun. And my first night there, I came home from my night where my partner and I, we had a couple drinks, we walked around, did a little gambling. It was a really lovely night, but I put my shoes in an awkward place and I tripped over them, and I stubbed my toe. And I didn't realize until the next morning, when I knew that I was in pain and kind of figuring out like what was happening. I was favoring it and being really careful. But then when we went down to breakfast, I played with starting to put pressure on that toe area that felt hurt. And I started to feel intense pain. And so I'm down in the buffet area, tons of people down there. And I'm starting to feel scared that maybe I broke my toe. And part of that, what came up for me there is I started to feel dizzy. I started to feel scared and dizzy. Now, to give you a little context, on top of feeling that, I have a history, especially as a little girl, of when I felt intense fear and I didn't know how to handle it and how to work through it. My response became to pass out, right? To go unconscious. And so, a part of my own healing journey as an adult is learning how to get through moments of fear without passing out, right? So, I want you to take that into this context of now, here I am with this intense pain in my toe. I'm feeling embarrassed because I stubbed my toe in the first place, feeling scared because maybe I broke it, and we still have these 3 nights left of our stay. And then feeling like overwhelmed because I'm in a restaurant full of people, right? And so, in that moment, right, I'm sure you can relate when you have these moments where maybe you feel scared and you're feeling embarrassed, where we have a couple choices, right? And in the past, I know for myself, one of the things that made it so hard to navigate those moments was without even realizing it, I would make myself very wrong for feeling fear. I would, you know, feel the things that I felt, and I would make myself wrong for feeling them. I would rehash what I did and think about how I did it wrong and I should have done it differently, right? Which I've learned over time only intensified the fear and intensified the emotions to the point that felt out of control. And so I would literally check out. So, a part of my healing journey and what I got to practice this weekend was really saying, you know what? I am going to love myself for feeling embarrassed, right? I'm going to love myself for feeling scared. I'm gonna love myself for trying my best and that this happened the way that it did, right? So one choice I made was really to choose to love every thought, every feeling that came to me and really just be willing to say, okay, like it's that I feel that embarrassment, that's okay, right? I feel scared, that's okay. Oh, I could have done this differently. Okay. Yeah, I could have done it differently, but I didn't, and that's okay, right? To like really, really practice cultivating that self compassion, that love. It is such a fundamental piece of building intimacy, not just with yourself, but with other people. When you are able to feel deep compassion, right, for yourself, it opens you up to be able to share that with another person. So never underestimate the power of really, really taking any opportunity to cultivate self compassion. So, and the other piece, there were a couple other things that I did. One was the moment I really started to notice that I felt dizzy and that it came on really quickly because I did feel that intense pain. And I was like, oh, you got to be kidding me. Was I made the decision to lie down, right? Like I was in a restaurant full of people. And there would have been a time in the past where I would have been like, no, you have to pull this together sitting up. Don't make a scene, right? There was a part of me that wanted to push myself through it. But I know from my experience with this, right? Pressure only intensifies the feeling, right? Anywhere. This is within yourself with other people. I bet you can resonate with when there's pressure involved, it just intensifies anything that you're experiencing. So, what this gave me the opportunity to do was to learn to take the pressure off and be willing to do that even if what felt right felt a little messy or inconvenient or weird. So I let myself lie down, and it did feel a little weird. I was like, oh god, this is a restaurant, people are going to look at me, right? I had those thoughts, but I also really could sink into, but this is what feels right now. I need to recenter and I need my body to be in a position where I can regroup. So I encourage you just to allow yourself to have that permission to put what you need to feel okay first, right? So you're at a baseline where you're able to breathe, you're able to be calm, you're able to find your center. And then, if there's things you have to factor in, or that you want to factor into the environment, that's okay. But I want you to feel permission to put what you need first in order to feel safe and recentered, especially when there are things that feel off centering and extreme. It's totally okay to have those moments and to do what you need to do, especially physically, to put yourself in a position to move through it. So, and the third thing there, in addition to in unconditional self compassion and really putting yourself even physically in a position where you are going to be able to get to a softer, more gentler place with yourself, is the support piece. Is that piece of either and both asking for and accepting support. Right. I know for myself over time, something that happens and helps for me in a really intense moment is asking for a face cloth, asking for a cold face cloth to put cold on my chest or on my neck. And so when someone came over, I asked them for a cloth, right? And they went and got me a cold cloth, and I was able to use that to help me get present and calm. And I also made the decision that instead of trying to um, when I was sitting down and I was thinking about how I was going to get back to the room, right? I didn't force myself to sit and power through the meal. I didn't say, you're okay, just do this. I actually realized like I wasn't feeling well enough to try to eat in that moment. I wanted to just allow myself to recenter in the room, tape up my toe, ice my toe. I wanted to give myself permission to rest and be able to kind of see more clearly from a different perspective because I felt a little bit of that disorientation. And though I didn't pass out, which I was very proud of, but yeah, so what I decided to do when my partner asked, "Hey, do you want us to see if security can just like wheel you up to the room and then we can reset. And I decided to say yes, which for me in the past, I would have been like, no, that's weak. I have to power through this, right? And saw, this experience as an Achilles heel experience that I was bad for experiencing and bad for not be able to be better at. I decided to give myself permission for having this vulnerable moment and really love myself for feeling it and be willing to accept the support to get back up to the room. And then that way in like a private space I could reassess the situation and decide what to do next. So I hope if you are someone who like you can resonate with feeling fear and also having like a intense heavy pressure around feeling your fear. Like this sense of, like you feel scared that you feel scared or mad that you feel scared and you see that fear as a weakness, right? All of this is an invitation to see your fear and your response to fear as just a part of being human, and that this it's an invitation to vulnerability and intimacy, right? It's the ability to be honest with yourself about where you're at when it doesn't feel like a perfect situation, right? When it feels like a hard one, because part of expanding our ability to love and experience more beauty is being able to even experience anything and everything. Because if we don't, and we don't trust ourselves to do it, which is an over time process, what happens is there's becomes too much managing, right? You get into a place where you're trying to manage your life so much that you're not living it and you're not getting to experience that deeper connection. So I hope this is helpful to hear for those of you that have this experience. I'd love to know if this resonates, and either when you're feeling fear and then you feel an intense reaction to your fear, one, what helps you most in those moments? Like, what helps you get back to your center? What helps you get back to that place where you feel softer, more open, more receptive, more connected? What helps you shift? Feel free. I'd love to hear your comments below. And if this is something you struggle with and you are not sure how to shift it or how to get to a better place where you can and you want to embrace intimacy with yourself and to feel a deeper connection within and outside of yourself with other people, definitely feel free to reach out. I offer one-on-one coaching, and it is my one of my greatest pleasures and joy to support you in developing feeling the confidence to connect with yourself and with those that you love, to build the intimacy and the love and the connection and the joy that you desire, and to be willing to navigate those moments that can really feel messy, right? Which are inevitable. So, how do we embrace this mess in a way that feels good? If you need support with that, if you'd like support with that, I would love to be in touch. So, my details are below for you to connect and schedule a time for that. And I am sending you so much love, wishing you an amazing day, and I look forward to sharing more next time. Thanks so much.